All right, folks, we are live. Welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti for news, reviews, and conversations, all things pro wrestling. Subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Thank you all for joining us here as we review a live edition, AEW Dynamite and NXT on the USA Network. Ralph, both had pretty good shows, so we'll talk about the highlights, the lowlights, of course, the ratings. Everybody loves talking about the ratings, too. And at the end of the episode, if you want to give us a question, give us a super chat, donation, any amount, help support the channel any way you can, and we'll answer your questions at the end of the episode. So, Ralph, we'll start with AEW Dynamite. I think everybody's talking about the steel cage match.
Absolutely, yeah. This is definitely my highlight of the night, and I'm probably talking about both brands here. Definitely a really good match, something that I was definitely looking forward to. I think this is something that probably most people were excited about going into the Wednesday night, they delivered in a big way.
I think they definitely did, and the moonsault to close out that match was unbelievable. It's not the first time we've seen Cody do a moonsault off a cage, so that was definitely awesome to see at a national stage. I mean, if you're from the Connecticut area, Northeast Wrestling, I think they just posted up their match, steel cage match with Kurt Angle and Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
He did a moonsault off the cage in that one too. So it was just a great match. I think Wardlow looked pretty good in that match as well.
Absolutely. There was not only was there a lot of pressure on Wardlow, being that this was his first actual match in AEW, but you got to think there's a lot of stress on Cody as well. He's got to go out there and perform. He's got to be the guy that's going out there and really probably the ringleader in this match, because Wardlow's a guy who, aside from his work on the independent scene, if people were really following his career to this point, this was probably his biggest opportunity and shining moment on his career right now.
Right.
Being able to perform live on Dynamite. Not only that, having main eventing against Cody Rhodes, a guy who is very well-known established family within the wrestling industry. So that's a lot of pressure on both the guys to go out there and deliver in a main event, especially it being Wardlow's first match. So Wardlow held up his end of the bargain. He looked strong, and Cody did his part in making him look strong as well. So I think both ends, both guys held up their end of the bargain on that.
What'd you think of the outside stuff that was going on during the cage match as well? We saw Arn Anderson tease hitting Cody with the door, ends up hitting MJF, then MJF trying to climb in. But then Brandy hits him with a chair, and Arn throws him into the crowd. That got a great reaction.
Yep.
I thought that there, some might say that could be a little overbooking, but I think that fits perfectly with the storyline. When you think about a guy like MJF, who truly is like a true heel right now in professional wrestling, probably the most hated heel, he's doing his job exactly how he should be, because as we've talked about numerous times on the show, it's really hard to get a reaction out of the crowd where you're truly being booed as a heel. Right.
MJF has become a master at that.
He has.
So the outside interference, it wasn't an issue for me. It's pretty much what's expected, because you see that so much in professional wrestling. I didn't have an issue with it. I thought it was great. I thought the whole thing was done very well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, were there any highlights that you saw? I mean, a lot of people have been saying that the whole show from beginning to end was very good, but was there something that really stuck out for you as a highlight to the show?
The show overall?
Overall.
Well, I definitely think that the cage match was my favorite thing.
Yep.
Aside from that, I got to say that, and I stress this every single time, Darby Allin is so unbelievably over with that crowd. The one thing that AEW has been able to kind of master to this point is leaving the fans at a point where they're clamoring for that big debut or reappearance.
Yep.
I think a lot of the issues that WWE has, and just wrestling in general, is oversaturation. You get to see the same guys week in and week out. There's no off season, and a guy that's usually fresh for a couple of weeks goes stale really quick. And you look at that. Hopefully that doesn't happen with a guy like Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania season, but it can happen. It happens all the time now in professional wrestling. Darby Allin, even though he hasn't won a lot of high-profile matches against some of the top-tier guys and the top-tier talent, I mean, just listen to the reaction and the pop that he got.
Mm-hmm.
Big ovation from the crowd. He's a guy that I think is going to do a lot of big things for AEW for as long as he continues to wrestle for them. And it shows you that they have, aside from having their top-tier guys, they do have some young guys in him and Sammy Guevara that are going to build the foundation for the young guys to come up for the future as well.
And of course, MJF as well as part of that young guys, you know, all of them within their early 20s. I think maybe Sammy Guevara might be late 20s. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm sure someone will correct me on the live chat.
His career
there.
almost ended last night.
Oh my God. That was, I saw you on Twitter tweet out that Sammy Guevara break his ankle. Now, I don't watch the show live. I watch it the next morning on DVR because I have prior commitments Wednesday nights. But I saw your tweet and I was like, what the heck happened? What did he do? Like, did he land awkwardly on something? And then I saw the spot and I was like, holy crap, did he break his ankle?
Yeah. So the reason I actually said that was if you think back to probably the biggest leg breaking known to all professional wrestling fans was Psycho Sid back in the day where he literally snapped his leg in half.
Yep.
So when his legs got folded up, I rewound it a couple of times on the DVR and watched it back, and it literally looked like his ankle was just dangling there.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression he really hurt himself.
Yeah.
Luckily, that wasn't the case, and he was able to come back out later on in the show. But yeah, I mean, that was nasty. I mean, when you think back to some of the better spots of super kicks and sweet chin music, certainly the Shelton Benjamin spot is probably the first thing that comes to people's mind. But yeah, that was certainly a highlight of the evening. One of them.
That was definitely one of them. I mean, the Battle Royal itself, it was a Battle Royal. I'm not a fan of Battle Royals. They end up being clunky, convoluted, a bunch of people just sitting there waiting for the next guy to do their spots. And it was kind of like that with this Battle Royal.
Yep.
But at the same time, we did get progression of storylines. SCU and the Dark Order. Butcher and the Blade and Best Friends apparently have something going on now. Santana and Ortiz and the Jurassic Express. We also got that standoff between the Butcher and Luchasaurus that I thought was very good.
Yep.
You know, that's kind of what's missing right now in AEW is the big hosses. You know, those.
Oh yeah,
and that's what they've been saying. They're saying they're going for those big athletic guys, and just the fact that we got a couple minutes of just two guys that are bigger, just pounding the crap out of each other for a couple minutes.
Yep.
It was something fresh for AEW. I definitely like that. And also going back to Darby, progressing storylines there. They progressed 3 matches in that one segment with Moxley and Jericho, Darby and Sammy Guevara, and Dustin and Hager. So all of that was awesome. But if I had to pick a highlight for the show, it was the tag team match. You know, and I have been critical of their tag team matches in the past. You know, not tagging in, not knowing who the legal man is.
Yeah.
Places, you know, ended up being huge spots fest. Was this a spot fest? Yeah. Was it a little chaotic? Yeah, but everyone looked good in this match.
Yeah. Look, and we've touched on this multiple times on the show as well. So I think I've come to accept the fact that that's just the type of style of a tag team match that the guys, a good majority of the tag team division in AEW is going to work, you know, and that's not necessarily, that doesn't deviate from kind of what they promised the fans at the beginning of the inception of AEW. They said that they were going to promote more athletic type, you know, matches.
Mm-hmm.
So to see that, you know, it's faster paced and not necessarily as reliant on the storytelling, even though there is a story behind the whole match and all of that. So I think when you compare that to like NXT, WWE, more traditional type tag team match, you're going to build up the hot tag. You're going to have your certain spots, but then you're going to have the rest periods.
Yep.
And you're going to work so the heel can get heat and all of that stuff and put guys over. And that certainly drives guys like, you know, Jim Cornette crazy or guys that are more traditionalists within the wrestling industry. But you know what? It's working for them. It's what their fan base likes. So be it. It's not going to be fair for everybody, but they're trying something different, which you can't necessarily knock them for.
Right. And, of course, we have the tag team match at AEW Revolution. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega going up against the Young Bucks for the tag team champions. So this is very interesting because, obviously, it seems like Hangman is going to turn on Kenny and cost them the titles. But I don't think that's necessarily true. You can have it where Kenny can turn on the Young Bucks to help them retain, and they both end up being tweeners or badasses or whatever, because, you know, we did that episode last week about Kenny Omega and what Jim Cornette thinks of him. And there were a lot of comments on that episode.
Yep.
A lot of the comments that were said about Omega were either he needs to work on his character or he's better as a heel than he is a face. And right now he's a face. So maybe having turned heel might actually be what is needed for Kenny Omega.
Yep.
And this is the perfect time to do it.
I think that, and a lot of times when a guy isn't necessarily clicking as a face, the immediate reaction is turn him heel. People said that obviously about Roman Reigns. They say it all the time. Well, just turn him heel. He'll be great as a heel.
Yep.
People said that about Cena for years. Look at Seth Rollins. I mean, he was great as a heel. They turned him face, and now he's a heel again. And, he's certainly not where he once was in his initial run, but it's better than what we were getting as him as a face.
True.
Kenny Omega, to me, when he was the head of the Bullet Club, the guy that was leading that group as the cleaner, that was my favorite version of him.
Yep.
And, I do think he does play the role of a heel much better than a face. And, people talk about, Matt Hardy kind of being in limbo. It's almost like Kenny Omega, while he's been in AEW, has kind of been in that place too, because for the casual fan, and I'm not talking about the hardcore AEW fans who have followed him through Japan and everywhere else before that, you were kind of sold a bill of goods like this is the best wrestler in the world, and you haven't been it's not like he can't do that, you just haven't been exposed to it yet. He hasn't got the opportunity to do that yet. He'll get that chance. It's just a matter of getting to that point.
Right. And I mean, we kind of see it already with Hangman Page. He had to do a little character change because of how he was built heading into All Out. Didn't really pan out with the crowd, so they do this cowboy shit persona, and it's really working. So that might be what is needed. Dark Order, at first, no one knew who he was or who they were, and they kind of had no reaction. Now, it's still murky, but they're at least getting a reaction now, and people are wondering who the Exalted One is, who apparently could be Raven now.
He did make an appearance. That could be a swerve, hopefully so.
Yep.
I think the success in the Dark Order lies in who is going to be the Exalted One.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of hype around this. Is it Matt Hardy? Is it Brody Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Raven? I don't know. It could be
Christopher Daniels.
I mean, there's a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation going around.
Right.
And you don't want it to fall flat, because this person is really going to be the person that is supposed to kind of bring them from mediocrity to like legitimacy. You would hope.
True.
Because they haven't really gotten a reaction. Their video packages and all that stuff certainly have been very good.
Right.
But,
of course,
they're hard to take serious.
True. And guys, don't forget, if you're joining us now and you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications for news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling. And if you want to support the channel, donate on the super chat. Any dollar amount will help the channel. And if you have a question or comment, we'll read it at the end of the episode. But, this episode of Dynamite was very good, but there might be a couple things that we could look at as a low light. And I know some people might say, how could there be low lights? But there's a couple.
You can always improve on something.
You could always improve on something. So what do you think is something that AEW was a low light for?
Well, I'll start with saying this. I thought that AEW overall was a really solid show.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. So it was hard to find something to point out. But the one thing I am going to point to is this. I think the low light for me was the fact that, I feel like as good as the main event was, the cage match was, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, I think it could have meant more had they taken a little more time to establish and build up Wardlow.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a couple of squash wins leading into that match, establish a finisher for him. That way, if Cody kicks out of his finisher, it means more. It just makes the match mean a lot more. Now, granted, they did a couple training videos, I believe, on YouTube and Twitter and all of this stuff where MJF was training Wardlow, and it certainly made him look good. But had they had Wardlow built up a little bit more, I think that this match would have meant more. It would have been more impactful, because honestly, I really didn't see Wardlow as a true threat to Cody.
Yep.
Because, I mean, let's be honest, to think that a guy like that is going to debut and go over a top-tier guy like that is probably slim to none, especially when you're a guy like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
With so much on the line. The other obvious thing was, for me, Jeff Cobb, too. I don't know how long he truly intends to stay in AEW, but having him go in against a guy like Moxley, again, his debut match, and he loses. He doesn't lose a lot because he's fairly established, especially to those who are really in tune with professional wrestling.
Right.
But, it was his debut match. He lost. in my opinion, they didn't even really necessarily need to wrestle each other at this point yet.
Right.
But again, I don't know how long he's contracted to AEW. So, those would be my two things. I just wish they built up Wardlow a little more leading into this event, so it seemed bigger. And then obviously Jeff Cobb losing.
Right. I get your point with Wardlow. I mean, they could have done a better job at least building him up to be a threat to Cody. I think he did look strong in the match.
He
did, and was throwing Cody around on the cage and cut him up and all that stuff. And there were times where Cody clotheslined him and he just stood there. So you got to see a little bit of Wardlow shine, which is fine. I agree with you. They could have done a little bit better. Jeff Cobb, though, I think the commentary did a very good job in explaining, listen, he's not here to win. He's here to make sure Moxley is beaten down.
Yeah.
So he's not ready for next Saturday. So, and I think he did a good enough job doing that. And the way Moxley won, I think was a good way to protect him.
Yep.
So that's fine by me. I have no problem with that. The thing that I actually have to say that is a negative, and this could just be me really, really looking for something negative. It looked like the XFL audience. And the reason I say that is the XFL right now, they're only selling their first level of tickets. So while they say they're sold,
okay.
So while they say they're sold out and it looks good close up, that it looks packed, when they do a wide shot, you could see the second and third tiers are nobody. And I don't know if that was just bad lighting to make it look like it was empty or bad camera angles, but it looked bad.
I think that's a good point. I also don't think it did them any favors, the fact that they had a cage match, knowing that they had to do different angles and stuff like that. So those who were watching on TV, especially the shot where Cody did the moonsault off the top, which was amazing.
The good thing was they did that over the ring so that you don't see the crowd. You just see like whatever surrounding the ring.
Yep.
So it wasn't that bad, but there were times where like they would do a wide shot and you see all this like darkness on the second and third level. I'm like, are they just not lighting it or there's nobody there? It was hard to really tell what it was. And if anybody's watching that was at the show last night, feel free to let us know if it was just me just looking at it wrong or was it actually that empty in the second and third levels. So, but yeah, that was overall a good show.
What'd you think of the cage?
The cage was awesome.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was very innovative. It was, it's unique. Obviously, people are saying it's like WWE's version of the cage combined with the Hell in a Cell, which is fine. I do like that the no escape is part of the rule because the escape out of the cage seems like a chicken shit way to win, but yet they always have the babyface escape out of a cage. So it seems kind of counterproductive. And also, I thought because going in, we didn't know if escape would be a part of the match. So you would think, oh, Cody's just going to get out of the cage and protect Wardlow that way. So in that regard, they didn't have that to protect Wardlow, but Wardlow still looked good in the losing effort. So, but yeah, awesome show for AEW Dynamite. Again, guys, thank you all for joining us here for our review of AEW Dynamite and NXT. If you want to subscribe, if you're new to the channel, news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And if you have a question for us, put it in the live super chat. Give us a donation to the channel. Help support us. Any dollar amount works. So help support this channel for the future. And if we keep, the more super chats you guys give us, the more questions we'll answer. And the more live videos that we'll do, because I know a lot of people are asking for these live videos, and here's your opportunity to show us that you guys want them. So NXT, this one's going to be hard to compete against because AEW is so good, but this was coming off a very good NXT takeover. Two big matches coming off this show were Jordan Devlin and Lio Rush for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And on the other hand, you have Velveteen Dream versus Roddy Strong. So any highlights for NXT?
Yeah, one of the highlights that I'm definitely going to point out is I think Bianca Belair is really starting to come into her own. I think they might be in a little bit of one of those situations where certainly Rhea Ripley as the champion, she got over organically. Everybody wanted to see her win. Charlotte is kind of in that position where she's good, people respect her, but she's almost got that Roman Reigns vibe to her, where she's been given a lot of opportunities. She's got the last name Flair, which is both a blessing and a curse because people are going to automatically say she's been handed everything, even though she's one of the best female wrestlers of all time already.
Mm-hmm.
So Bianca Belair can be somebody who I see as kind of sneaking into that title picture, almost kind of like weaseling her way in, or I shouldn't say weaseling her way in. The fans willing their voice and willing her into like a title match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because I think she's starting to click with the crowd, and I think people are starting to get behind her, and she's certainly becoming across as much more confident into like coming into her own.
Right.
And that's always good and refreshing to see.
Right. No, I totally agree. Bianca Belair, I thought what was going to end up happening was Bianca was going to win and force that to be a triple threat because they were hinting at, well, Rhea didn't beat Bianca yet, so how do we know that Rhea could face Charlotte at WrestleMania when she hasn't won the match at TakeOver? So I agree with you there that Bianca Belair was great last night. So highlights to her. My personal highlight was the Jordan Devlin versus Lio Rush match.
Very good match.
Lio Rush continues to shine in NXT. He needs to get on a TakeOver soon.
Yeah.
Get the Cruiserweight title on there soon. So make that happen. Low light, to me, the low light was the Velveteen Dream Roddy Strong match.
Yeah.
The build that this got, the payoff didn't deliver, I don't think. This was Velveteen Dream's first match, and Roddy Strong is a good wrestler. They're both great wrestlers, but this match just wasn't a match that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like the whole night was kind of missing the big moment. And NXT is weird because they can always perform. They've got a great roster, and it seems like whenever they have momentum, whether it was coming out of Survivor Series and they truly were trying to compete with AEW, it seemed like at the beginning, they don't capitalize on their momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people will tell you that NXT TakeOver Portland was awesome.
Yes.
I mean, you had the hot angle at the end, Cole and Gargano. I'm sorry, Ciampa and Cole tore the house down. That match was amazing. And then Gargano, obviously the heel turn. Finn Balor looked strong. All these things that were going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of like they had the momentum, and it was just okay.
Right.
Like TakeOver was great, and then this week's was just like another status quo episode. You didn't have Finn Balor, you didn't have Gargano.
Right. It was
it kind of fell flat a little bit.
It was like last week where it was the go-home show to TakeOver, and you thought they should do a lot to push that show, and they didn't do it. This week is the aftermath to that show, and you thought they would do a lot to follow up with it, and they didn't.
Right. Yeah.
They dropped the ball both weeks. And like NXT, they have all these opportunities to cash in, and they just continue to flop and mess up these opportunities.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is.
Yeah, and again, it's not like it was a bad show.
No.
But it just seems like they weren't trying to truly capitalize on the momentum that they had coming out of
Survivor Series.
Well, not only Survivor Series, where everybody was made to look strong going into Survivor Series and coming out of it, but also obviously TakeOver, which was very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little strange to me. I don't understand the dynamic. Maybe they just thought that because between the Democratic debate and the fact that the cage match, all of that,
like they had no chance.
I mean, obviously they did. In terms of viewership, they only were short by like 100,000 viewers.
Let's see. So the the ratings came in. AEW won the 18 to 49 demographic with a 0.31, total viewership of 893, which put them fifth in the overall 18 to 49 ratings. NXT had a 0.25 and an overall viewership of 794,000. So yeah, about 99,000 viewer difference. And it's very interesting how the ratings actually went this week. So while AEW won the 18 to 49, NXT won the 18 to 34 rating, and they won the female 12 to 34. So it seemed like the younger the demographic went, they went towards NXT. The older the demographic went, it went to AEW. And in fact, this week, the 50 plus demographic, the one that NXT usually wins, they tied with a .36. And that to me was just very, very interesting. But again, AEW wins the 18-49 overall, wins the total viewership. So, and I mean, at this point, should we even talk about ratings at this point? Because, other than 1 week, AEW has won. And as far as viewership, I think what's it been, only 3 weeks where NXT has won?
Yeah.
So
2 or 3.
At this point, why even talk about the ratings?
It doesn't necessarily seem like NXT or WWE is honestly too concerned at this point.
Right.
Honestly, I think that the only time that AEW is going to be concerned with the ratings is if they truly start to dip week after week after week, or viewership that continues to dip week after week, which hasn't necessarily happened. You've had certain weeks where it drops down, and then the next week it goes back up. It fluctuates every single week.
Right.
The only time WWE should be concerned is once or if AEW is like on an exponential growth in terms of the amount of viewerships that viewers that they have.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how this looks come WrestleMania time. Now that we're on the full road to WrestleMania, we know that Rhea is going to be facing Charlotte. So how does this all play to effect in the ratings heading into April? So there's a couple months where NXT can take this opportunity to get the viewership, but as we've seen, they've had the opportunities and they've been squandering them. But at the same time, AEW has been putting on amazing shows since the start of the new year. I mean, they haven't had a bad show since the start of the new year.
Yeah. Well, so AEW's got some talent that, depending on who you believe and what rumors you want to believe, they've got talent that should be coming in and debuting.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Archer, if he truly signed with AEW, he should be debuting.
Yep.
Brody Lee, if he goes to AEW. Revival, who knows what's going to go on with them, if they're going to resign, if they're going to go to AEW. As far as NXT is concerned, like you pointed out, what people are going to be showing up at NXT, Charlotte obviously is probably going to be on NXT for some period of time to promote the match. Killer Cross, you got to think he's going to be debuting sooner rather than later.
Right.
So it's definitely going to be interesting.
It definitely will. So, guys, again, thank you for joining us here on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti for news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling. Subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And if you guys want any questions answered, donate to the Super Chat right now. Any dollar amount will work, whether it's, 5 cents, $1, whatever the minimum is, to, $500, whatever helps, whatever you can afford. And we'll answer your questions. Noah Crandall actually donated $5 on the Super Chat. Thank you, Noah. Big supporter of the channel. I've seen him tons of times in the comment section too. He has a comment here and he says, in my opinion, Cody's been carrying the ratings. What will happen when people get bored with his matches and storylines?
They'll turn him heel.
They could turn him heel. That's one way. The other thing too is sometimes there's just guys that you will never get bored of. Yeah. How long was John Cena in the main event picture? And yes, I understand he was polarizing and there were a lot of let's go Cena sucks, but for what, 14 years? He carried the WWE banner and had main event matches and sold tickets and people wanted to see him, whether it was to boo him or cheer him. And that Ruthless Aggression documentary on Cena was awesome. So
very good. Yeah, I actually just watched that before I came here. So to answer that, in my opinion, I feel like AEW has to create new stars, has to continue to expand and grow. And this is one of the things I point out all the time, even though people get so disgruntled with me. At the end of the day, AEW is still a business. Their goal should still be to make money and to grow. That way they can attract new talent, young talent, already established talent, top guys from New Japan, WWE, wherever they have to. So that way Cody doesn't have to be the top guy for however many years. Mm-hmm. Now, do I see him being a top guy for a long time? I do. But it's on AEW to grow the company and to promote some of the younger guys like a Darby Allin and MJF and whoever else in between, Wardlow, whoever, and elevate them to that level. So not only do you care about Cody, but you care about those guys just as much as you care about Cody.
Right.
Cody's still got a really good heel run in him at some point. And not only that, he can't even challenge. We haven't even gotten to the point in the storyline of the career with him in AEW where he can now challenge for the title. Because once that happens, that's going to be fun. When whatever ends up happening, he somehow manages to get that kind of mark on his career rid off him. And
Right.
He can challenge for the title, whether it's Jericho or some other major heel, MJF. That'll be cool.
You could do that one of two ways. One, you can have him, babyface his way and just, win so many matches that he earns the right to be the number one contender again. Or he turns heel and just goes, I'm the EVP. I could just take this.
You can do that too.
That was, both ways you could do that. Let's go in the live chat, see if there's any questions on here before we get to any more super chats. If anybody wants to cut the line, donate to the super chat. Now is your time to do it. Let's see. A lot of people just saying AEW is awesome. WWE sucks. Let's see. Great show by Dynamite. I love Cody. Hangman Page was awesome. Darby has unmatchable charisma, and he's going to be a huge star. I think so. The size might be an issue for mainstream audience, but at this point, if Rey Mysterio could be a main star, I think Darby can as well. If Matt Hardy is not the Exalted One, the Dark Order is dead. Would you agree with that statement?
Not necessarily, because they can give the opportunity to somebody who is underutilized, and maybe somebody else can thrive in that situation or that position.
Right.
Look at like Bubba Ray Dudley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And would you say that Bubba Ray Dudley was necessarily known for his singles run until he became Bully Ray and kind of became a whole different character?
Possibly, yeah.
So, it's not like, if you give someone the opportunity and creative freedom to be who they want to be, you never know what can happen.
Right. Here's one from the Cool Nerd. Do you guys think this was a replay from when WCW did Goldberg versus Hogan for the WCW Championship at the Georgia Dome on Nitro instead of pay-per-view? So I guess
Is that the finger poke of doom?
No. This was when Goldberg won the title.
Oh, from Hogan.
From Hogan
Okay.
on Nitro. So I'm guessing he's referring to the Cody Wardlow match based on where in the chat this was. So, I don't know if I would call it Goldberg versus Hogan 2.0. No, I wouldn't say that.
I'm just confused. Like, in what sense?
Basically he's saying it should have been a pay-per-view match that they put on Nitro. Like, they're giving away these pay-per-view quality matches instead of putting them on pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Well, we talked about that a little bit, and I don't know. I don't necessarily think so because, again, Wardlow isn't a guy that's necessarily established. This was his first match, so It's not like they're going to get tons of pay-per-view buys to see Wardlow at this point in his career. Maybe somewhere down the road they can build him up to be that.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? Any other questions? Wardlow kind of reminds me of Batista when he was deacon to Reverend Devon. I guess. I really don't remember the deacon.
I do.
I mean, I remember the character. I just don't remember him other than a few like clips of videos, but I don't remember like the storyline of the deacon Batista, but I guess that could work. Let's see. Someone said NXT always does that after takeovers, referring to like no real follow-up to their shows.
Yeah.
I do remember that on the network when they would do that, but they're on USA now. Things have to change up. So, is Cody the best babyface in wrestling right now?
Him or Okada?
Oh wait, sorry. Best babyface in wrestling in America. So that changes.
Yeah.
I don't know who even would become Moxley. McIntyre's not there yet.
Nope.
No one in Impact. No one in Ring of Honor.
Well, you got, if you're going to compare the best face, he said?
Best baby face in America right now.
Oh, he's the best true baby face in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Probably, honestly, if I'm going to go, he's probably the most over baby face to go over organically since Daniel Bryan, off the top of my head.
Maybe. Yeah. Definitely. Let's see. Should it have been a pay-per-view match? I'm guessing Wardlow and Cody. Should that have been a pay-per-view match? If you want to extend the MJF storyline further into maybe Double or Nothing, you could have, but I think it was fine having it on Dynamite. Let's see. Next. Tommy Harris, do you see MJF eventually joining the Inner Circle? No.
He's one of those guys that he's gonna run independently.
Yeah.
Or obviously alongside Wardlow, but I don't see him joining any faction. Well, he was in a faction in MLW.
Yeah, he led the faction.
Yeah.
So, and
I could see him leading a faction.
I mean, if you have Wardlow already, and they already have a partnership with MLW, it seems like, and Meltzer has brought that on Twitter saying that there's a partnership there. Can they bring in Alexander Hamilstone and the Holiday to be part of Dynasty in AEW?
I don't see why not. I'm big on Hammerstone. I think that if he, no matter how long he stays in MLW, I mean, he's either destined for NXT, WWE, or AEW at some point soon, I would think.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, let's see. If I pronounce names wrong, I apologize. Maka Germain. Again, I apologize if I spelled it wrong. Mid-card belt? ?
No, but action figures, which is something we didn't talk about.
Yes, action figures are coming.
I meant to put that in my highlight of the night because, that's pretty cool.
It is, and they actually look really good. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the WWE action figures look pretty realistic, but the AEW ones, especially like Jericho's looked almost spot on.
Yep.
Kenny's looked good. Cody's looked awesome. Brandy's was a little off, but I'm excited to see who else comes out if they come out with like a Darby Allin and MJF,
Raven, Taz.
Why not? JR,
Shivani,
Schiavone. Oh, speaking of Shivani, did you see the coffee cup?
Yes, I did.
Shivani coffee, and it said Tony spelled wrong, just like at Starbucks. I mean, Britt Baker's doing the best she can with this whole heel gimmick, and I think it's working. But I think Nyla Rose definitely was the right person to be champion. And I think they're going in the right direction with the women's division finally. So, and you know what? We got that extension of the storyline. Chris Statlander, you got Big Swole, Nyla Rose. So now you got a couple people that could be fighting her off. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the women's division gets built more on Dynamite as the weeks go on. Yep. So got another $5 donation from Noah Crandall. Thank you very much. And of course, if you guys want to donate to the channel, do so on the super chat. You'll cut the line on whatever questions are being asked here on the live chat. Do you guys enjoy the throwback feel of NWA because they could be a sleeper in the wrestling revolution? I don't know if I really like the throwback feel. I mean, it's unique to them, and that's what makes it work. To me, I think what makes NWA work is they're so storyline driven. And they're so character driven that you don't necessarily need to have these 5-star matches because like WWE, they're sports entertainment. You're going to like them or you're going to hate them. AEW, they want to make sure every match is a 5-star match. Sometimes the storylines are falling by the wayside, but NWA, I think, is so focused on storylines. Everything has to have a reason for it. Yeah. And the one thing that I do like that they're doing is the theme song, because I'm a big 80s guy. But no, I actually like the fact that they are with their TV title, the 6:05 time limit. It gives a sense of urgency. So you don't necessarily need like ring psychology. Just start the freaking match and get to it and have a sense of urgency. Let's see. So we got a couple more questions jumping in here. And thank you, Noah, for your donations tonight. If anybody else wants to jump on the super chat, any donations work. So, Tommy Harris, if you guys were ever asked to co-host Dark, would you? And is Scorpio Sky eventually going to break off from FCU or SCU? Well, if AEW ever asked me to co-host any show, I would definitely do it. Cody, if you're listening, I'm available. Scorpio Sky, I think he should break off because there's a lot of potential with him. I don't know if he will.
What if this whole thing is a swerve with Christopher Daniels and he's the leader? He's the exalted one.
That would be awesome.
I mean, he's a guy that he's good on the mic. He's young. Nobody would expect that. And that would get, like I said, you give a guy an opportunity to do something outside of like his normal role. Like that could start his true like singles run.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a thought, but
let's see. Takia Phillips, again, if I butcher your names, I apologize. It's the first time seeing some of these names. So thank you for your $5 donation on the super chat. What female free agent wrestlers could AEW go after? See, here's the thing. There's situations where like we think they're signed to an exclusive contract or are now nowhere near available, and then all of a sudden they show up. And we saw that with Jeff Cobb.
yeah.
So it really could be anybody. And the if NWA allows, people to go inter promotion, why not go after Thunder Rosa? That would be someone I would go after. Some other female free agent wrestlers. The only one I can really think of that's available right now is Kelly Klein, who got released from Ring of Honor whenever she's officially available. And in the summer, when Tessa Blanchard becomes a free agent, I'm sure by the summer, whatever happened is going to be, not thought of as much as it is now. And she will be a very sought after free agent from WWE and AEW.
Yeah.
And maybe even NWA. I know the allegations are there, so that might hinder that. But I would say Kelly Klein and Tessa Blanchard right now.
And it's tough because especially a company like AEW, they probably want to try to go after people that are more established.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, a good majority of the women that are established are already under contract with other companies. So
right.
It's tough. But.
Yeah. Let's see. What other... Would you guys do a brother versus brother cage match? Well, there's videotapes of us doing other matches when we were kids. I don't think we ever did a cage match. We've done plenty of hardcore matches, but never a cage match.
Yeah.
I guess set up a cage and find a promoter that will book us. But thanks for the question there, Brian. The Cool Nerd, what do you think about Cody's comments about one day moving Dynamite to Monday nights? I think we're going to need a separate episode for that one. That's a roll of the dice. We'll see where in 5 years they go. Maurice Scott, do you all think Brian Cage will sign with AEW when he comes back from injury? I would think so. I mean, the report came out that he signed basically the same night as the pay-per-view that he was, written off of. Haven't seen him since. I know his wife, Melissa Santos, shot down those rumors, but I don't see why he wouldn't go to AEW unless WWE gave him an offer he can't refuse. So, yeah. Again, thank you guys for joining us here on our live AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT review. If you like to subscribe, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications for news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling. And if you want to support us financially, if you can, give us a super chat and we'll answer your question or read your comment, whatever you have to say. A couple more questions coming in here. Let's see. Anthony Manzano. How would you guys fancy book the debut of Killer Kross on NXT and ideas for his new ring name on NXT? I don't think they're going to change his name.
No, I don't think they are either.
I don't think they're going to change his name.
Because on Backstage, they introduced him and referred to him as Killer Kross, I think.
Right. And there's Killer, what's her name? Killer Kelly? Killer Klein in NXT UK?
Mm-hmm.
So, I understand where people get this because of the whole, War Raiders dropping War. Now they're the Viking Raiders. But that, I think, was just more of Vince saying, hey, we can use this Viking gimmick, and Viking sounds better than War Raiders.
Viking shit, pal.
Yeah, that's what it is, I think. So, let's see. Anybody else here? When Darby,
how would you fantasy book Killer Kross? Is that what you wanted to know?
How would you
I'd throw him right in the deep end of the pool, and I'd have him go after Tommaso Ciampa. Reason I would have him go after him is because people obviously refer to him as Psycho Killer. You get that chant pretty much every time.
Yep.
And just to see those two big personalities go against each other, face to face, face off. That's what I would do. Either him or like a guy like Keith Lee.
Yeah,
like you want
that's what I was
it to
thinking.
Be impactful because that's a strong character that you have now under contract, and you don't just want to be like, all right, well, Killer Cross is making his debut and he's going to wrestle, Cameron Grimes. It's like,
Right.
no, like he's here to stay. Let him make an impact.
Now, at NXT, I think that they dropped the ball again this past episode with basically rehashing Dijakovic and Keith Lee, but maybe this is a setup for Killer Cross to debut and interrupt in that match.
Well,
or beat down Keith Lee afterwards, and he gets put into the North American title picture. Because honestly, who is there? And I was thinking, we were talking before the live stream went up, and I was like, well, Ciampa and Gargano are together. You got Riddle in the tag team situation, so it'd be hard. But Finn Balor is really the only one that's kind of out there without a storyline. But you're showing me Finn Balor's Twitter. What are you looking at here?
I thought I saw a tweet that he had put up, and there was 2 X's next to the name, which if you follow, like he's got it all throughout his Twitter, and if you follow Killer Cross closely, like the red X, he uses that quite a bit.
Yes,
in his.
He does.
So I don't know if that's like a thing, like suggesting like they're gonna go after one another. Wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind that at all. Especially if you have Killer Cross going after the Demon.
Yeah, definitely. Corey MacArthur, a big follower of ours, donating $4.99. Thank you very much for your donation on the super chat there. He says, I agree. Ratings shouldn't matter anymore. Value guys on everything. All Elite Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and WWE. I see these conversations all the time about ratings, right? And people saying, oh, AEW won the ratings, and then they'll say WWE is dying because they're seeing their lowest viewership ever and all this stuff. And it's like, how many of these people actually understand these numbers or what they mean, or, what's the difference between total viewership and ratings? And I've gotten to a point where it was like, I want to do a video on this just to educate people on what these ratings are.
Well, maybe people want you to do it.
Yeah, let me know. If you guys want to see an episode on the ratings and how this all works, let me know. And I'll do a video letting you guys know how this works. I work in television, so I have an idea of how this works. So, give me a thumbs up, mention in the comments, in the live chat, whatever you guys want to do. Let me know if you guys want it, and I'll give it to you. So, again, thank you, Corey, for your donation. Let's see. There was something. Let's see. Tommy Harris, do you think that since Tully's already in an AEW, how much influence do you think that would play in a bidding war for Tessa? Obviously, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Tully's already there, so you would think she'd want to go with him. But, it's not the first time someone's been a family member in one promotion and then they go to a different promotion. Look at all the, married couples or dating couples that are one's in AEW, one's in WWE, or so no one wants to do that video, so maybe I'll do it. So let's see. C Longoria 0492, are y'all gonna be at Double or Nothing? Give us a couple more super chats so that we can afford it.
I've been to Vegas. It's in Vegas, correct?
Yes, it's in Vegas.
I've been to Vegas twice. It is the best place on earth.
I love Vegas.
I would not mind going again.
No, I wouldn't mind either. So I know last year when Double or Nothing happened, someone tried setting us up like a fund to send us to Vegas, but it was like 3 days before the show. It was like, you're not gonna raise that money to do that. But I would love to. But right now, the way my vacations are set up and financial situations, it's not quite there to go to Vegas. So, unfortunately, we will be watching Double or Nothing from our living rooms. Could you see Jericho retain at Revolution, but Mox win the title at Double or Nothing, win it basically a year on the day of his debut? That's not a bad idea.
I think Cody's going to win at Double or Nothing.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. Because, if you think about, all right, how much longer are they going to go with the feud with Moxley? And not only that, assuming they don't, who else is there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. Kenny Omega right now is immersed in that whole storyline with Hangman Page and the rest of the Elite.
Right.
Who do you have?
Right. Unless, like I said earlier, where we could be seeing Kenny turn on the Bucks and see like a heelish character come back. Do we have Moxley win at Revolution and then Kenny goes on a singles run and he becomes the heel Moxley becomes a babyface, and we get that rematch from Full Gear at Double or Nothing.
I mean, it's possible.
Right. I mean, the good thing is they have not announced the main event yet for Double or Nothing, which kind of
I would hope
it
not.
leaves it wide open for what could happen.
Yep.
Jericho could definitely retain. So,
nope. That's what someone replied. Nope.
Nope. Nope. Guess not. I don't know if that's nope for the question or
Kenny.
nope for me doing a video on ratings, but I see some people saying do it.
Outlaw macho shit.
Yeah. Let's see. A question about NXT. How much longer do you think Adam Cole will be champion?
Oh boy. That's probably got a while yet if I think about that, because Ciampa's out of the picture.
Yep.
He's going to have to go through Gargano, which I'm fine with because they never really got the full closure to that storyline and to that feud. Who's going to take... I mean, Keith Lee right now should be the guy to take the belt off him, but he's the champion as well. Again, I don't know how many. What contenders do you see? Finn Balor?
Killer Cross comes in, takes the title. No, that'd be way too fast of a push, but at least till WrestleMania.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know who, like right now, everyone's in their different feuds. Maybe Velveteen Dream. He's already going through Roddy Strong. Does he go through the rest of the Undisputed Era, eventually taking the NXT title? You know? Maybe
I'm trying to think who, because Adam Cole is certainly very over. Even as a heel, he's over with the crowd. So who is going to be that much more over than him?
Velveteen could be.
Could be. I don't know. That's tough.
Right. Let's see. What other questions do we got here? Would you guys want Dave Benoit to use Chris Benoit Jr.'s name
Never
like
happened.
he said he wanted to do? I would not do that.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
That's not a good idea. Not a good idea. Besides Cody, Jericho, and Moxley, which wrestler do you like the most right now, and would you like to see him get a push?
Is that just AEW?
I think that's just AEW. Darby Allin, no problems. Let's see. Is the Undisputed Era starting to lose their luster? No,
Nope.
I don't think so.
I think they are the best faction in professional wrestling right now.
Over the Inner Circle?
Yes.
Really?
I think that individually, as a group together, they to me are more convinced. Like I think that Sammy Guevara and Jericho is at another level. He's the clear front runner of that, and Adam Cole as well. But the guys that are below Adam Cole within the Undisputed Era aren't far off. They're all very good,
Right.
for in ring and everything else. I like. Sammy Guevara is very good. Hager, you don't even know what to think, really. I mean, he does his part well, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Proud and Powerful. Do they even call them that anymore?
No, they just call him Santana.
They're good. They're talented, but it's kind of like, they haven't done too much.
They're basically, to me, Santana and Ortiz are the Darby Allin of the tag team division, where I think everybody likes them, but they just haven't gotten that big win yet to help solidify them in the tag team division. Either Santana or Ortiz or the Lucha Brothers. I think both of them are in that situation where everybody loves them, but they just haven't gotten that big win yet. Maybe that's just me.
Yep. 6-man tag title.
That's someone mentioning in the comments that Sean Spears joins Wardlow and MJF when the 6-man tag titles are announced. I mean, let's see if they actually do get announced. So
I agree with that.
Let's see. What's that? Predict that 6-man titles.
Below that.
Oh, here we go. Noah Crandall. What are your thoughts on Zelina Vega? She seems like she has the potential to be a great women's wrestler, but the manager role seems to be what she is typecast at.
Well, Angel Garza plays the role that Andrade is supposed to play better than Andrade does.
I
in my
agree.
opinion.
I agree.
He is, to me, that he has right now shown a lot of promise. He's got that kind of it factor. I think he can, if they get behind him, he might be able to do some big things.
Yeah.
Zelina Vega, I do like her. She's pretty good on the mic too.
She's very good on the mic. I don't mind her as a man. I think part of the reason that wrestling, or as some people think, wrestling is on the downward spiral is the lack of managers, because like everything is so focused on the match itself that people forget about the story getting into the match. And let's face it, a lot of these wrestlers today are not good promos. They're not good on the mic. They're not good characters, but they need someone that's a manager to help them with that.
Well, how good would Brock Lesnar be without Paul Heyman?
Exactly.
They go hand in hand.
They go, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so.
But then you have like Andrade, who obviously English is not his first language, so he can't speak the language. You have Zelina Vega. It works. Sami Zayn on SmackDown with Cesaro and Nakamura. That can work. Like Sami Zayn, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Bobby the Brain Heenan, but he can be that Bobby the Brain Heenan-esque manager where you could have him on commentary. You can have him manage, and I think it would work. But for some reason, Vince just hates managers all of a sudden. But yeah, I don't know if I would say she needs a push in the women's division, but they definitely need to shake things up. They should have shaked things up with the women's division, because right now it's just like Becky and everybody else. And on SmackDown, it's Bayley and everybody else. There's really no division, really. Let's see. C. Longoria again. I feel like Sammy and Darby have potential to be match of the night at Revolution. At the very least, I see them stealing the show. What do you guys think? It could be.
Which match is this?
Sammy versus Darby at Revolution.
It can be. The thing is now, what do you consider good professional wrestling? Is it going to be a spot fest? Is it going to have a story?
It's going to be high flying.
To me, Darby Allin works his best matches when he's in there with a guy that can slow the tempo, and he can be the guy that has that big comeback.
I think Sammy could help him to that. Obviously, he's not like a methodical wrestler, but I think there's some psychology in his matches where some of the other guys in AEW might not have. And I think this match could end up being match of the night, and they'll be able to do their big spots. It'll be high flying and athletic like the younger folks want, but the traditionalists will get the story with they'll probably play Darby's throat a lot in this match. So,
yep. And aside from the cage match, which I thought was really good by all professional wrestling standards, the one that comes to mind was last week. I think it was MJF and Jungle Boy. Nothing crazy. It did what it was supposed to do. I thought that was a great match.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Should AEW have tried harder to sign Chris Bay? If Cody had an eye on him, like he said he did, you try as hard as you can. But not everybody can go at AEW. Let's all remember that.
Pac is the Exalted One. That's interesting. I didn't even think of that.
Pac is the Exalted One. That would be interesting. I don't know if they would do that though. I think Pac needs to be himself. He can't be involved with the Dark Order. I mean, it could work, but I don't think that's the right move. Let's see. What else do we got here? NXT is stale right now. I never liked the promo around the ring. They need more backstage segments. Agree. NXT is just match. So, and you saw that again this week with the exception of the Tommaso Ciampa, Austin Theory beatdown. Let's see. So, and again, guys, thank you very much for your questions here on the live chat. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes. If you want to donate, cut the line. Any dollar amount will do to help support the channel. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications for news. No, not everyone can go to AEW, damn it.
Brian Pillman Jr. was on the show at the very beginning of our recording. So
yep, that is true. We did interview Brian Pillman Jr. and he did hint that he was going to be in AEW and ended up being in the Casino Battle Royale. So how about some AEW house shows?
Do people go to those anymore?
No. Let AEW consistently do well with their Dynamite ticket sales and their pay-per-view ticket sales before they could start doing house shows. Honestly, if you want to see an AEW house show, go to the independent shows that these guys are in. You could still see, like Moxley ended up in independent shows. Darby Allin still does independent shows. MJF still does stuff with MLW, Jimmy Havoc as well. So if there's independent shows in the area, some of these AEW guys will be there. So,
New Jack. Jesus.
What? Who said
God.
New Jack? AEW needs New Jack? No, they don't. I mean, I'll respectfully disagree with you on that one. Matt is teasing too much. Matt Hardy. Yeah. Did you see the tweet with Matt Hardy?
Yeah.
You know, with the capital AEW. And he took a picture of someone had a sign saying free the delete. And he was, you know, getting all excited, marking out for it. All right. So Morrow's voice makes me not watch NXT. And Excalibur's does.
Oh, God.
I mean, they're both very similar in the way they deliver their matches. I guess one voice could be more irritating to the other. It's all personal preference to me, but sometimes Excalibur just sounds like he's forcing something out. You know? You know, it's like, here comes the concerto.
Don't pay Suicida.
And then you got Jim Ross.
Hit him with the chair. What?
Yeah.
What type of cadence is that? What are you doing? The fuck?
This is All Elite Wrestling and a moonsault from Cody. I don't know. That's just us having fun. You know we've been on this for way too long. We don't usually go an hour recording one episode. So Killer Cross has to be on the main roster now. No, let him go to NXT. Let him go to NXT first. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Thank you to Noah Crandall, to Kia Phillips, and Corey MacArthur for your donations on the Super Chat. Thank you all for your questions on the live chat. Thank you all for liking this video. Share this all over social media, even though the live viewing is over. It's still going to be on here on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. So don't forget to share this all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, SCPB Podcast. And for news, reviews, and conversations on all things pro wrestling, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti. Thank you for watching and participating in the Squared Circle Psychobabble.